Okay guys, this is going to be on how to disassemble your Diana for cleaning mainly, and just to show you how you can take the slide off. I won't be going deeper than that, I will just be doing the slide and doing some cleaning, but it's important that you follow the steps and have the right tools at hand before you actually get going. So you'll need some form of steel tweezers, just because you can pry with them quite well. And if those don't work, you've got a knife as well to pry with. You need tape, which I'll get onto that in a minute. You need two different types of tapes as well to label with. You'll need hex keys, different types just to make sure. Screwdriver, I've also got an electric one, and different heads of course, and tweezers, needle nose ones to be precise, and you want good ones too. So first you want to get your accessories off. You won't actually need to get the bottom part of the grip off or the rail underneath if you don't want to clean underneath there, but I'm just going to be showing you how to do all that in this. So I can remove my weapon light, which is just attached with tape at the moment just to make it a bit easier until I get my proper one. This knife isn't very good. There we go. Just cut the tape, remove the light and the tape. I'll be able to remove any discoloration from the tape as well. That's just literally some tape glue on there, which will easily come off. So now we've got the weapon light off. The rail, literally you won't need to remove that, and I don't really think we need to remove the mag well. We can just clean around that, but we will need to remove this RMR. So first remove the actual cap. See if I've actually got the right hex key here. It did come with some hex keys, but we'll just take some off, it might work. Looks like we might need to go a bit smaller. There we go. So you don't want these super tight, but you want it tight enough to stay on there. As you can see, they're not. You want them hand tight. There we go. You can see you'll want to clean underneath your RMR from time to time. You'll get a little bit of dirt on there. It's not too much on there at the moment. So I have taken this off before. You can see there's the battery. A lot of people were wondering what I use. Let me just get the screws in and I'll show. This is a Pike, P-A-I-K-E. It should be about $50 to buy. Not very expensive, but they are very good quality, with 8 different brightness settings. I'm sure you've seen that in my videos. So now we're getting closer to the main piece, and we'll want to remove the compensator. Just going to find one that fits. Yeah, so how I did this before is I used this screwdriver because it actually has a piece for that without having me to use those Allen keys. There we go, found the right tool. And you'll see why I said to remove this compensator in a sec. You've got to carefully remove these, very carefully. There we go. You can see lots of dart dust, including compensator. I recommend soaking this in some clean water. Don't do it in hot water, just some normal water. Just because it's very hard to get into all the grooves in there. Yeah, you can see that's pretty dirty. And just in some soapy normal water, don't do it in hot water, just normal water. I recommend drying that with a hairdryer afterwards. And then now we've got to that, you can clearly see we need to clean this. Now I would definitely recommend cleaning up by taking off the slide, so we're going to have to start by taking these screws out. It's just this one, and this one on the other side, which are hex keys. I recommend having somewhere to place these as well. I'm actually going to use my RMR tray for my optic, just to hold them. Like a dust cover, I should say, but it's like a tray now. So you'll feel that the slide literally wants to come off the frame once you do that. You can feel it sort of give. You'll also need high quality bearing oil for this, so if you don't have the oil yet, make sure you buy that first. You want to make sure you get the bearing oil and don't just use silicone oil, because that's not going to stick to the bearings. As you use this, the bearing oil will definitely come out of it. When you look online, it says that the bearing oil will stay in bearings, but because of the type of product this is, the darts and the dart dust actually will draw it out, and how fast these move as well. They're pushing them at their highest limits, so the bearing oil will come out of them after 100 and 200 rounds. I know a lot of you use these in games, so you're putting thousands of rounds through these. It's been about 6 months now since the release, so your bearing oil is dry. There's no way you have any bearing oil in this, so you can actually do it from the outside. Because I've got a high quality light around here, I can see the bearings through these holes. You can get to the bearings just by using the syringe through here, but that's not going to clear the dust out, which is why I've said about the screws. Now these screws hold the bearings in and everything else, so these screws hold all the other stuff in, and these screws hold the front sight in, so you can remove these as well. Now the reason I brought the tape along is because inside of here, inside the slide, once you open this up, there's going to be a right switch, a left switch and a middle switch for the trigger. So you need to make sure that you label those as you open them, because otherwise you'll put the selectors in the other way around. It won't be too bad, you're not going to break it. You're just going to have the safety selector on the other side and the hot shot mode on this side instead. That's all it's going to do, and obviously you'll see where the trigger goes as well, but you need to label those just to make sure you put them in the right place. So I've put as the green as the right switch, white is the left switch, and there'll be no tape on the trigger, so it just makes it easier. So I'm going to try and remove the slide now, carefully. I'm going to remove the sight just to make sure, because it's not actually coming off currently. I'm thinking it might be these screws as well, just to make sure. It also might be just because this slide is very tight. But what we're going to do is undo these ones as well, just to make sure, because these could be screwed into the slide. Just going to see how long they are. Yeah, these ones will be screwed into the frame, so we'll need to remove these too. So just bear that in mind. I will actually put the rear sight back on, because I think now I can hear the wobble from the internals. We want to put that back together, because I don't need to remove the pusher, so we can just screw that back in. Now this rear sight can be put in either way, so it's quite good. It's reversible. Reminds me of the rear sight from GTA 4. If you actually copied that bit on the front, it would look exactly the same. Since these screws are quite short, that holds the back piece in. So now I can feel the slide wants to give. So we still need to remove the other ones, but I can feel there's more give now, just from doing that already. These are all the same length, so just keep that in mind by the looks of it. I think these ones hold the actual parts in place. Bit fiddly, I'll get it. Once I get it, we've got it. See, these are all the same length. There we go. So there we can see the wires. So I'm going to try and get this front piece off because it's quite stiff. There we go. Now they're actually hooked in place, which is the best part about this. There you go, there's one of the sides that just flipped off, so you need to make sure you look at this while it happens. Okay, now obviously make sure your diode isn't plugged in when you do this. So, like I said, you want to label them. You can get them before they fall out. The trigger ones fell out first, but we can get that. So, this is the right side. Remember your left and your rights. So, right side is green. So let that go there. We're just going to label that. This is just some material tape. Just put it around the wire. This is an old electrician's trick for doing wiring. And the trigger doesn't get labelled, and the left side gets the white tape. So we'll just pull them off, because we don't need that on there at the moment, and then we'll just wrap that on that. Boom. So now they're labelled, we can let those go out of the way. So you can see you've got your pusher there, you've got your wire in. See, even the pusher is custom itself. Even the pusher is custom itself. HC Diana, which hair technologies. It's quite weighty as well. Yeah, see, there's hair, there's all sorts of stuff on this. This is why you should remove this and clean it. You can also see the dark dust in there. You've got your wiring that's basically around the barrel. You've got the screws that hold your heat shield in, and it also holds the flywheels in. You can see you can get to the bearings from here, but look at that, look at the dark dust, guys. if we spin these wheels are perfect condition still. I don't know if I'll be able to get this in shot, so I need to look at the same time. Of course they're magnetic. Forgot about that. I need a stick that isn't magnetic. I don't think I've got one. I don't want to use sandpaper. I've got an idea. So there we go. Get a skewer, and now we can turn the wheels. No, that is no damage on these whatsoever. All that's on here is just dart wear. This is why you only use. I mean, look how much gap there is between there. There's literally no gap for a dart. There's the highest crush you could possibly get. This is why you really need to use the high quality darts I was talking about. Work at high ends, and even if you really can't afford them, get the normal Nerf darts, elite ones, and just cut them down, because they do compress completely. They're not very accurate, but they do work. So you've got that option. Don't use hard tip darts in these whatsoever. I've never made the mistake. I'm just telling everyone not to do it, because it's just something you don't want to do. If you get a hard tip dart in there, there's no crush, you could damage your flywheels and the brushless motors. You can see there's so much dirt in there. So we're going to need Q-tips as well. The main reason I'm not going further is because you can see you've got a lot of wiring that's very delicate in here. Unless I want to change the slide, which I'm not going to do, you can remove the stuff if you want. I mean, you can try that out with your one, but I'm not doing it, guys. It's simple as that. I mean, that's just too much to get into. These screws are very small. There's a lot of detailed hand work done here, and I'm not messing with any of that. I would only trust HairTech to do that, so I'm going to do it the way I know how and clean it the way I know how, because that is the safest way for people like us guys, like anyone in the community that isn't super high tech. You don't need to go super crazy. You just need to clean as much dust off as you can, and just basically redo the oil with the syringe. We're going to be using this mainly because it's going to be the main thing for that, but what I'm going to be using this for is cleaning the dust off. So this will mainly use the internal inside the brushless motors. I'll be going deep into them with this, but I'll be using the basic oil for the rest of it, just to make sure it stays good. This is the frame. This is where all the pieces slot into. So obviously green will go here, white will go here, and then the no-taped one will go here. And you can see the trigger is just a simple spring that touches back onto looks like a cast metal piece. You could actually refine this. If you want, you can actually you can add a little bit of piece of metal like tin foil or something to the back of this trigger, and you can lighten that trigger a little bit up, a little bit more if you wanted to. It's not a very big gap though, as you can see, between the trigger and the resistor. So it really is just a normal trigger port. It's not very much. It's literally like that. So, but you can see some oil residue and dirt in there. So, and the battery tray. So we can just clean all this out with some tissue or with a rag. Got some kitchen paper, just because this stuff is quite rugged. It doesn't rip very easily. And since this is oil residue, I'm going to use that to just clean with it and just wipe it, which should do this enough. This should be enough for this. And we'll get some Q-tips in there. That's where the pusher sits. And this holds the pusher in. Just for anyone interested. What the mag looks like. I ordered a clear mag with it in there. You can see it sits in line. It's very in line. That shows this is one of the best grips I've ever held, to be honest. I think this is honestly the you can feel it. It just feels amazing, even with no slide on it. I tried reversing this, and because I'm left-handed, and it doesn't really work. It kind of does. You kind of have to like hold it and like mess with it. It doesn't really work as nice as how it was came out the factory. So it'd be nice if someone releases a reversible magazine release for left-handers. But this grip feels amazing. So you can see a little bit of like dirt on there, just literally put my finger on here. It's probably just oils that release out on here. So what I do is I've got this rag here that's got silicone oil on it already, and it will like shine up and clean any areas the more you wipe with it. So I should be able to just wipe all this down. And if needed, I can even add just a little bit of oil just on there, like that. Just wipe that into the frame, and because this is nylon, silicone oil is really good for plastic, so this will clean all the dirt and oils off, and it should shine all up.
So you can use rubbing alcohol, hand sanitizer, bleach, white vinegar, baking soda, paste, empty tablets.
So I've done the oils, but the oil isn't enough, so I'm going to be doing a warm bath on parts of the grip, piece at a time, and drying it, and retreating the springs to make sure no water damage is done to those. Since there's no electronics in here, just make sure you dry it out very well once you've cleaned this. I mean bone dry, you don't want any water on this whatsoever, and make sure you treat your springs with the appropriate oils and maintain those springs. In the next part now we'll be cleaning the slide and the flywheels. Tidy up your workspace every now and then to make sure there's no clutter. It makes it easier to see what you're doing for each step. So I recommend putting your finger in the barrel just to hold on to it. It's easy to hold on to the slide that way. And then now we can see what we're doing with the light. Look at that. That's all flywheeled. That's all dart dust. That's from HEs, and that's from the Nerf darts. And that's rubber as well. That's also pieces of rubber from the darts. Wow, that's a lot. So this is where we have the tissue. We're just going to wipe that into that and just wipe all the big parts I can get off of there and put it in the tissue. This is why you don't let it build up in here. You want to clean all this out as much as you can. Now I can get pretty much all the way through here with some Q-tips. I also recommend using a cleaning rod, an airsoft cleaning rod. I'll show you that. Usually they have a tip on them. This one doesn't on this one. But what you'll do is clean your barrel with this, and wrap cleaning tissue and oil, and you're going to polish this barrel back out again. That'll be the next step. So once you've obviously cleaned all of this out, that'll be the next step. But we aren't done yet. I was just thinking ahead. and because silicone is quite a delicate oil, it's not very like obtrusive oil, you can clean around your solder points here. There's also some hair which I'm going to try and get off with the tweezers. I don't know how hair has gotten on this. Looks like one of my hairs. Yep, looks like one of my hairs has somehow gotten in there. And since this, I don't want to use this one, but since this is a rubber head, plastic head, we want to pretty much cover this in silicone oil, because this will permeate into the plastic and revitalise it again. That's the great properties of silicone oil. It revitalises any of those parts. Now, I don't think we can manually push the pusher through. Oh, we can. So we can. Yeah, that's simple enough. So I was going to say we can clean under that now. Yeah, just put the rod there like that, just to wedge it through. And this is just to clean underneath the head of the pusher, because there's actually some dart dust under there too, and that will completely coat the head of the pusher, and it will maintain the just a decent quality of it. We can clean around the body of the pusher, because this is a polishing oil. This will shine this up as well. So clean the spring. This will revitalise the spring again as well. Revitalise it and bring it back to life. Clean all the dart dust around all of this. There really isn't going to be much dart dust underneath the pusher. These wires can just chill up there for the moment. Don't worry about them until you're putting it back together. They shouldn't fall apart at any point. You can remove them if you want, but I'm not going to be doing that. There's actually a head right there. You can remove those. They're actually wrapped around each other a little bit, or wrapped together to make more of a singular piece. So you can see they're very, very thin wires, so that's why they've wrapped them around each other. This is why you don't want to be fiddling with them. You just want to tape them, because the tape will actually hold them together too, because they're actually trying to unravel. And just being on the frame is what keeps them all together. So the tape also is a double purpose. It helps you remember where they go, but it also keeps them together as well. So perfect, that is. There's actually a window through here. The window is actually so you can see the pusher working. A lot of people don't notice that, but there's actually like a standby window, so you can kind of see what's going on in there. You want to clean in there too, because that will allow you to see what's going on, because it actually gets filled up with dart dust after a while. This is how you can tell if your Diana's dirty. So if you don't have it disassembled yet, you can look through these windows on either side, and you'll see the dust just built up all in there. If you look through your magwell as well, you'll see this part of the slide, and you'll see dust just filling up on these edges. So that's just a telltale sign that you need to clean your Diana. Otherwise, you're going to lower its lifespan down completely. You might even break it. So you doing this isn't going to break it. You just need to know how to put it back together again. I don't recommend taking any of this top part a piece away, and unless you're going to be changing any of the parts out. Maybe a longer barrel, but you can remove the barrel, I think, without taking these parts out. It does unscrew from what I heard. I just don't know. It might be these front screws that do that, but I'm not going to be trying that, because they actually look like they've put solder on those screws. So I'm only lightly cleaning the edges of these flywheels, because this will just revitalise the rubber that's on those too. This oil doesn't need to go inside the bearings. This won't help the bearings. This will just help the flywheels themselves, the actual heads of the flywheels, because these can dry out over time. These can become old and worn. People say that this rubber that's forming on here does help it. It does to a degree, but it doesn't help it more than putting this silicone oil on it. If you look at the properties of silicone oil, it's really good for rubber and plastics. So just wiping this down and just removing some of this rubber, allowing it to sit on there and just wiping it off again once it's sat on there for a bit. And just turn the wheel, see if it picks up any dark dusts from around the edges on the wheels. This will just help remove any of that. Because you're turning it, it will just pull it all round. And you can just clean the tops of the wheels here. You can see the dust on them. And you'll be able to get into this with the bearing oils. Try to go under as well. Get some of the dark dust in there. Just trying to remove as much as you can. That's the main goal of this. Doesn't have to be completely spotless. It's just to try and get as much out as you can and just cleaning it all up. Trying to get it back to how it was before, basically. That's the main goal of this. And just turn the flywheel as you wipe it. This will just bring any dirt to the surface. The flywheel will push it up and around, and then you can just wipe that off. Any rubber literally just starts to come off with this too. So you can see the orange rubber start to show after a while. The oil sat on there from the darts. You can see the flywheel is actually really nice condition now. There's still some dirt on them, but you can see they're really shiny. And just you can touch them with your finger, just turn them and wipe them with your finger as well. This will actually help. I definitely do recommend doing some dry firing once you've done cleaning this, just to blast any oil residue out through the system. As long as it's just oil, no actual liquid like water. You don't want any water in this system whatsoever. This is just pure silicone oil, and I'm just rubbing all the dart, the rubber piece off of this from the darts, so it just comes straight off there. It's like a skin of plastic on there that's formed from the darts. Now once you've done this, I do recommend leaving the flywheels to sit. There we go. This is why you also need tweezers. Yeah, people have been saying this is good for your flywheels. I beg to differ, to be honest with you. That is literally like a piece of orange. Like it's just not. That is just going to cake up over time. And that is going to damage your flywheels. So definitely don't be doing that. Don't be leaving this residue on your flywheels. You can clean these back up to brand new again, just removing this residue off. So I'm going to keep doing that, and then I'll show you once all of that's off. And then we're going to clean the barrel, so we just use our cleaning rod. Just going to clean the barrel, so we just put some oil in there. I'm just going to all the way in there like that. This is an anodized stainless steel barrel, so it's not completely clean yet, but we're getting there. You can see it's very nice. Just going to get a Q-tip, and run that in the rest of the way. Clean all the rest of it that I missed. Make sure you clean the dart gate as well. Literally go straight through the barrel, and then the dart gate, and then the flywheels. So you just want to clean up until the flywheels. See the dirt in there. There we go. Nice and clean again. Okay, so now you've cleaned off everything, and okay, so once you've cleaned off everything and it's all cleaned, you've cleaned the barrel and everything, you now want to go to your bearing oil. Make sure it's actually dispensing, and it is. So there's a couple of ways we can get at the bearings here. So there's the shaft between the plate here, probably not just to point with this, but the plate and the wheels, between those. Right in there, basically, between here. It's quite hard to see it. There we go. Right in there. Hard to get it around the tripod, but as you can see, you want to go in there like that with the bearing oil. Give it a turn, let the oil go in there. So now that I've done that, that is plenty of oil. I squirted quite a bit in both. And there we go. Okay, so now it's all done, we can now put it back together. See, this is perfectly clean again now. So we've got the trigger, the right switch and the green switch to put back in. This is where I recommend using the stand. There we go, that's one switch. Put the trigger switch in. And then the switch. Line that up. Be very delicate as you do it. And it should slide straight in. And there you go, that's how it was when I opened it. And I can remove the tape for the battery as well. Then we push those wires forward into that forward part of the trigger guard, because that's where they were before. And then we just line it back up again. if it's not going back together, just lift it back off and make sure the buttons are seated. There we go. Just test your switches to make sure they're on there. They're good. Now we can put these top screws back in first. You want these hand tight, you don't really need the electric screwdriver. I haven't used it once, it's all can be done by hand. I would recommend doing it all by hand anyway, just to make sure it's all done carefully, because you don't want to split any of the plastic. As soon as I put that screw in, I felt it all go in more, so that's really good. And you can see this holds the main part in, but there's a little bit of wiggle there. There's not much wiggle up front at all, but it just helps when you put these screws in, just to maintain the strength. Now there is one longer screw out of all of these. I think you need to put the longest screw on the back here. We could just test that. Smaller one is here somewhere. There it is. That's too small. I think I just used this. Yeah, I used this. I think this one's actually the wrong size. Yeah, I need a bigger one. Yeah, so this one's the right size for the back. You can see the bigger one goes in the back, that's flush. So that's solid now. There we go. Your die's back together again. You can see the switches are all in the right spot, everything's back together perfectly fine. You can see the wires in there, just like how they were before. So everything is literally back in order again. So, thanks for watching guys. Comment, rate and subscribe. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to subscribe down below, because it helps my channel grow. Don't forget to like the video. And yeah, thanks for watching guys. I'll see you guys in the next one. Just thought I'd show at the end of the video, it's all back together again, and the battery's in now. They sound even smoother now than before.